My girlfriend, 28 female, tested me, 27 male, by confessing to cheating. Now I can't unsee it. I honestly don't even know where to start with this. I'm sitting here at 4 a.m. unable to sleep, and I just need some outside perspective because I feel like I'm losing my mind. So I've been dating Sylvie for about a year and a half. We met through mutual friends, and honestly it's been really good. Like genuinely good. We've done the whole meet the families thing, talked vaguely about engagement timelines, the works. She stays at my place probably 3 to 4 nights a week even though she has her own apartment with a roommate. We've got a pretty solid routine going, or at least I thought we did. Here's the thing about Sylvie, she's always been a little insecure. Not in a red flag way, just she worries sometimes. She would ask me things like, "Are you going to leave me?" Or "Do you still find me attractive?" That kind of stuff. I always figured it was just normal relationship anxiety, you know. I work as a sysadmin for a mid-sized tech company here in Seattle, pretty stable job, and she's a dental hygienist. We're both pretty boring, honestly. No drama, no games, just normal. So I always chalk it up to her worrying that I'd get bored with us, and I never have a problem reassuring her, until last night. I got home from work around 6, made some dinner, played some games, the usual Tuesday night. Sylvie texted earlier saying she was staying at her place tonight because she had an early shift. Cool, no problem. I went to bed around 11:30. Then at 1 a.m. my phone lit up. It was a text from Sylvie. Not a normal text, I'm talking a full wall of text, multiple paragraphs, and my stomach just dropped as I was reading it because she was telling me she cheated on me. She says she's been seeing someone else for the past 8 months. The message literally said, "I've been with someone else and I hate myself for it." Says they hooked up a few times, that it didn't mean anything, that she doesn't have feelings for him. Then lines like, "I got scared of being too happy so I sabotaged everything and please don't leave me. I will do anything to fix this." She's going on about how she loves me, how she's so sorry, how she had childhood trauma and fear of abandonment. She's begging me not to break up with her, asking for a chance to prove she chooses me. I just sat there staring at my phone for probably 2 hours straight. I kept reading it over and over. 8 months. We've been together for 18 months total. That means she's been doing this for like half our relationship. Every vacation we took, every holiday, our anniversary, she was lying to my face the entire time. I'm not gonna lie, I was a mess. I couldn't respond. What do you even say to that? Part of me was thinking maybe if she's coming clean on her own, maybe there's something salvageable here. But another part of me was just, how do you come back from that? How do I ever trust anything she says again? So around 3:30 a.m. I finally called her because I couldn't just leave this hanging. I needed answers. I asked her how long exactly, do I know the guy, was she sleeping with him when we were planning our trip to Portland last month, all of it. My hands were literally shaking as I forced myself to keep my voice steady. And this is where it gets completely insane. She started laughing, like nervous laughing at first, and then she was like, "Oh my God, Liam, it was a test. I wanted to see if you'd still love me even if I messed up." "Oh my God, Liam," she says, and her voice suddenly sounds different, lighter. "It was a test. I wanted to see if you'd still love me even if I messed up." "I'm sorry, what?" "A test," I repeat. What? "It was a social experiment," she said, like that explained everything. "I saw this thing on TikTok about how to know if your boyfriend really loves you. You test them with something big to see if they'll stay or run. If you had unconditional love for me, you know." I couldn't even process what I was hearing. There was a long pause between us before I found my voice again. "Sylvie, I just spent the last several hours thinking my relationship was a lie. I've been sitting here going through every memory we have wondering what was real." "But that's exactly it," she said, and she actually sounded excited. "You were upset, which means you really care, don't you see? Now I know you're the real deal. You wouldn't just bail when things got hard." "I'm not upset because of some hypothetical problem," I told her. "I'm upset because you made me believe I was lied to and you destroyed our relationship while I thought we were building something real. That damage doesn't just disappear because you say just kidding." But she was acting like I was being dramatic. "You're overreacting," she said. "It shows how much you care, see? Now I know you really love me. Isn't that a good thing?" Like this was some kind of romantic gesture instead of completely messed up manipulation. I eventually got off the phone because I couldn't handle the conversation anymore. And now I'm sitting here wondering if I'm actually crazy for being upset about this. On one hand, nothing actually happened. She didn't really cheat. It was fake. We've had a really good year and a half otherwise, and she's normally sweet and caring and supportive. This is so far outside her normal behavior that part of me thinks maybe it was just a one-time lapse in judgment. But on the other hand, she was completely comfortable putting me through absolute hell just to see how I'd react. She fabricated this detailed story about betraying me for most of our relationship. And when I was clearly devastated, her response was basically, "Mission accomplished." I don't know, Reddit. Am I overreacting for seriously reconsidering this whole relationship over what she's calling a prank? Is this actually as messed up as it feels to me, or am I being too sensitive? Edit. For those asking, I'm 27, she's 28. We're both adults here, which is why this feels even more bizarre. The comments about she actually cheated and is walking it back are really getting in my head now. I didn't want to think that was possible, but yeah. That's not making me feel better. Update 1. Posted 3 days later. I really didn't want to have to make this update. I was kind of hoping the comments saying she actually cheated were just being paranoid. But you guys were right, and I'm honestly still processing this. After reading through the responses on my first post, and there were a lot of you saying the same thing, I started actually thinking back over the past several months. And yeah, there were things that didn't quite add up that I just brushed off at the time. Random girls' nights that seemed to come up more frequently. A few times she said she had late shifts but then wasn't particularly tired when she came over after. Little stuff, you know. The kind of stuff you ignore when you trust someone. There's this guy she works with, Tyler. He's an X-ray tech in the same building as her dental office. She'd mentioned him in passing a few times, but never in a way that seemed weird. Just normal coworker stuff. So yesterday I decided to reach out to Jeremy. He's one of my best friends, been engaged to Diana for about 6 months now, and Diana is pretty close with Sylvie. They're in the same friend group, do brunch together, the whole thing. I figured if anyone would know anything, it would be through that pipeline. I kept it respectful but direct. Just asked Jeremy if he or Diana had heard anything about Sylvie seeing someone else. Told him I needed the truth, whatever it was. He said he didn't know anything but would ask Diana. A few hours later, he called me back and his voice was different. Like that tone people get when they're about to tell you something you really don't want to hear. So here's what Diana told him. Sylvie has been seeing Tyler on and off for months. Started around 8 or 9 months ago, which lines up exactly with what she said in that text. They'd meet up after work for drinks sometimes, and yeah, they'd been sleeping together. Diana said it was happening at least once every couple weeks, maybe more. And here's the part that really got me. Apparently Sylvie had talked about this with her close girlfriends. Multiple times. She'd apparently described it as Liam is the stable one, Tyler is just fun. She'd even cried to Diana once, saying something like, "I don't know what to do, I care about both of them for different reasons. I don't even have words." The whole time I thought we were building something real, she was treating our relationship like an option, like I was the safe backup plan while she had her fun on the side. That confession prank. That wasn't a prank at all. She was testing the waters. She wanted to see how I'd react if she actually came clean, and when she saw me go silent for too long, she panicked and reframed the whole thing as a joke. I called her immediately after Jeremy told me. Just laid it out. I know about Tyler. I know the approximate timeline. I know she was calling it seeing another guy on occasion with her friends. She tried to deny it at first. Said Diana was lying, that it was all misunderstood, that they just grabbed drinks a couple times. But I walked through every detail I'd been told and the specific things she'd said to Diana. She went quiet for a bit and then just hung up on me. Didn't even try to explain further. I sent her one final text after that. Told her it's over, that I felt betrayed twice, once by the actual cheating, and again by her trying to gaslight me into thinking I was crazy for being upset about her prank. I told her she's got 2 weeks to get her stuff from my apartment, and after that I'm donating or trashing whatever's left. I've blocked her number since then. I'm done. I'm completely done with her and whatever games she thinks relationships are supposed to be. The worst part is I keep thinking about all those times she'd ask me, "Do you really love me?" Or, "You won't leave me, right?" I thought she was just being insecure, that she needed reassurance. Now I realize she was asking that while actively cheating on me. She needed me to tell her I loved her and wasn't going anywhere, all while she was out there doing whatever she wanted with Tyler. The audacity of that is just, I can't even process it. Thanks to everyone who commented on the first post. I really didn't want to believe you were right, but you were. And I needed that push to actually look into it instead of just taking her word for everything. Edit. Yes, I'm getting STD tested, already scheduled for next week. Thanks for all the reminders about that. Update 2, posted 4 weeks later. I wasn't going to post again, but enough people have DM'd asking for an update that I figured I'd close the loop on this whole mess. Plus, it's been kind of therapeutic to write this stuff out, honestly. So after the breakup, Sylvie went silent for about 4 days. I thought maybe she was actually going to respect the boundary and just let it end. I should have known better. She sent me this long email, I'm talking like 2,000 words, where she admitted to having an emotional connection with Tyler, but insisted it wasn't really cheating. Her words. She said it was her being mentally unwell and scared of commitment. That things with me were getting too real, and she needed someone to run to because she was afraid I'd abandon her someday and she'd be all alone, and that somehow proved how much she loved me. The physical stuff only happened a few times and didn't mean anything. Then she pivoted to blaming everything else, her childhood, trust issues, depression. And this is the part that really got me. She wrote, "If you had reassured me more, maybe I wouldn't have needed that stupid test." So apparently me not reading her mind and preventing her from cheating is somehow my fault. Cool. I didn't respond. Just archived the email in case I ever need it and moved on. But the friend group stuff has been messy. Through Jeremy and Diana, I've been hearing different versions of events getting spread around. Sylvie's been telling some people that I'm cold and overreacting, that the confession thing was just a prank gone wrong, and that the Tyler situation is being exaggerated. A couple of her friends have actually DM'd me trying to smooth things over. She's a good person who made mistakes. You should try couples therapy. Don't you think you're being a little harsh? That kind of thing. I've just been polite but firm, it's over, I'm not discussing it further. On the flip side, some people in the friend group have quietly reached out to apologize. Said they knew something was off but didn't want to get involved or weren't sure how to tell me. One person confirmed that Sylvie had literally said to them, "Liam is so stable and boring. I just want to feel wild for a bit." Another person mentioned there was apparently a close call once where Tyler's ex-girlfriend showed up at the dental office and Sylvie had to play it cool. It's been weird realizing how many people knew or suspected something and just didn't say anything. I get it, nobody wants to be the bearer of bad news, but still. As for the practical stuff, I got my full STD panel done last week. Everything came back negative, which is a massive relief, though the doctor said I should retest in another few months just to be completely sure. I also changed the locks on my apartment and got a new building access fob because I wasn't taking any chances. I saved everything, screenshots of Reddit posts, the emails from Sylvie, texts from friends confirming the cheating. I'm probably being paranoid, but after everything, I wouldn't put it past her to try and flip the script somehow. If she ever claims I was abusive or whatever, I've got a clear timeline showing what actually happened. For the stuff pickup, I gave her a specific 2-hour window on a Saturday afternoon, and I made sure Jeremy was there as a witness. She showed up, and of course she tried to talk, but it wasn't the dramatic crying and begging I was expecting. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't been sleeping, and when she started talking, it wasn't the manipulative stuff from before. She said, "I know I don't deserve to say this, but I really was terrified of losing you. That's not an excuse for what I did. I'm not asking you to forgive me, but that fear was real, Liam. And I ruined the one thing I was scared of losing. I know that's my fault. I know I did this. I'm not gonna lie, hearing her say it like that, without the deflection, without trying to make it my fault, it got to me for a second. Part of me wondered if maybe the fear and the insecurity really were genuine, even if the way she handled it was completely messed up. But then I thought about it. Even if her fear was real, even if she really did sabotage things because she was scared, she still made the choice to cheat. Multiple times. For months. She still lied to my face while asking me if I loved her. Real fear doesn't excuse that. I told her, I believe that you were scared. I believe you didn't know how to handle your feelings. But Sylvie, you had a choice every single time, and you chose to hurt me instead of talking to me. She just nodded. Didn't argue, didn't make excuses. Just started quietly packing her stuff. There was this moment where she picked up this photo of us from the Portland trip, and she just held it for a second. And I could see it on her face. She knew exactly what she'd thrown away. She tried once more at the door. I really did love you, you know. I still do. I didn't know how to let myself be loved back. And honestly, I think that might have been the most honest thing she ever said to me. But it doesn't change anything. Love without respect, without honesty, without loyalty, that's not love I can accept. I kept it simple. I wish you well, but it's over. The whole thing took maybe 45 minutes and then she was gone. Honestly, I thought I'd feel something, closure, vindication, sadness, something. But I mostly just felt tired. Tired of the drama, tired of the games, tired of trying to figure out what was real and what wasn't. The friend group has kind of split since all this happened. Some people are still close with both of us and trying to stay neutral. Some people have quietly distanced themselves from Sylvie after hearing the details. And some people have apparently decided I'm the villain for not being more understanding. It is what it is. I've been focusing on myself, hitting the gym more, spending time with the friends who actually showed up for me during this, getting back into some hobbies I'd let slide. It's getting easier. The first couple weeks were rough, but I'm starting to feel like myself again. Final update, posted 6 months later. Hey everyone. I wasn't sure if I'd make another update, but I've gotten enough messages asking how things turned out that I figured I'd wrap this up properly. Plus some stuff has happened that feels worth sharing. First, the Sylvie update, because I know people are curious. Things with Tyler didn't last. Apparently once the dust settled from our breakup, and Tyler realized he was actually in the middle of serious relationship drama, he decided it was all too much and started backing off. Sylvie tried to make it work for a few weeks, but Tyler wasn't interested in anything serious. He just wanted to keep things casual. So the person she turned to as a way to protect herself from being abandoned, her insurance policy against me leaving her, ended up being the one who actually abandoned her. It would almost be funny if it wasn't so sad. From what I've heard through Jeremy and Diana, she actually did start going to therapy after everything fell apart. Like real therapy, not just posting about it. Diana said she seems like she's genuinely trying to work on her issues with abandonment and self-sabotage. Part of me is glad to hear that, honestly. I meant it when I said I wish her well. But here's the complicated part. Diana also mentioned that Sylvie still struggles with taking full accountability. She'll admit she made mistakes, but then in the next breath she'll add something about how if I'd been more emotionally available, or if she'd had better support systems, things might have been different. Like she's still looking for external reasons for internal choices. A few months ago I heard she started dating someone new. I don't know if she told him the full story about us or a modified version. I hope for his sake she was honest, but I also know that's hard for her. That pattern of fear and self-protection runs deep. Some of the mutual friends have distanced themselves from her, not because they think she's a terrible person, but because watching someone repeat the same patterns is exhausting. A couple people have told me they've tried to gently call her out when she starts rewriting what happened between us, and she doesn't take it well. I'm not going to lie, part of me genuinely hopes she figures her stuff out. That moment during the pickup when she was honest about not knowing how to let herself be loved, that was real. The fear was real. The self-sabotage was real. But so was the hurt she caused. Both things can be true at the same time. The difference is I'm not responsible for fixing her or waiting around while she figures it out. That's her journey, not mine. As for me, I'm doing a lot better than I was 6 months ago. I've been working through the betrayal stuff and the trust issues that came with it. I realized is that I have a tendency to give people way too much benefit of the doubt. I see the best in people, which is usually a good thing, but it also means I'll ignore red flags because overall things are good. The whole experience taught me that unconditional love doesn't mean accepting everything someone does. It doesn't mean letting them hurt you just to prove you'll stay. Real love involves boundaries, respect, and not putting your partner through emotional hell just to satisfy your own insecurity. On a lighter note, remember Harper, the coworker I mentioned briefly. We've been hanging out more over the past few months. Started with coffee a few times, and we ended up talking a lot about relationships and boundaries and trust. Turns out she'd been through something similar with an ex who did loyalty tests too. In her case, the guy pretended to have a serious illness to see if she'd stick around or bail. We're not dating or anything, at least not officially, but there's definitely something there. And the difference between talking with her versus the way things were with Sylvie is night and day. With Harper, I feel like I can actually breathe. There's no games, no tests, no wondering if I'm being manipulated. She says what she means and means what she says. After everything with Sylvie, that kind of straightforward communication feels like such a relief. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm taking my time, focusing on making sure I'm actually healed, and not just jumping into something new to avoid dealing with the Sylvie stuff. But it's nice to know that I can feel that sense of trust and safety with someone again. For a while there, I was wondering if I'd ever be able to let my guard down with anyone. So I guess my final thoughts on all of this. If someone tells you they need to test your love by putting you through emotional trauma, they're not actually testing your love. They're testing how much pain and manipulation you're willing to tolerate so they can feel safe doing whatever they want. Thanks to everyone who's followed this journey and offered support. You guys really did help me see the situation clearly when I was too close to it. Take care of yourselves, and don't settle for people who think love means playing games with your emotions.